I took a quote off of something I heard you say or read. I'm an actor.
Yeah.
I can make anyone believe anything. I don't have to know a thing about it. So I have that right?
I don't know why I said that. It's probably because of West Wing, because it got to the point where I didn't know what the hell I was talking about in those big speeches or some political thing. I was like, I have honestly no idea what I'm talking about. But I can make you believe I know what I'm talking about. I could definitely do that.
You have to embrace your own insecurities, securities, faults, and it's a constant challenge to deal with the self, with being an actor. There's a part of me that feels like I don't belong. I don't belong in the world of being an actor. As much as I love it and as much as I've trained and worked, I feel like I'm not quite there yet. I find it very difficult at times to do it, to play, to be seen, to be on camera, to play. Sometimes painfully so.
I enjoy the deep sense of pretending that it encourages or requires, but there's something about the sacred space that exists between action and cut, or between the curtain going up and going down, that's difficult to describe and unlike anything else I've experienced. When I got the phone call at noon that Sam Mendes was looking for someone to replace Alan Cumming as the MC in Cabaret, and went in at 6 for a work session that lasted for just shy of an hour, and left and ran into the casting director under the Cabaret sign at Studio 54, and he let me know that I had the role. And I went in and saw the show for the first time that night and was pinching myself all night long, simultaneously invigorated and absolutely horrified.
I think as a human being, we all share 360 degrees of emotion. When you're exploring a character, you're really exploring yourself. You're finding in yourself qualities that help you illuminate this character you're trying to create. This life force grabs you. I've always thought of it as catching a moving train.
You become the guy for 12 hours today, if it's a film, and you just put on his clothes and you let it just seep back into you, and you just start to think like he does. And you know it's temporary, versus I'm one of these very serious method actors and call me by my character's name and all that. That's just, those are cheats.
I see.
But if you just seep it, let it seep in and become the guy and begin to think like he does, and then whatever the lines are, whatever the scene is, you do that, and then we're done for today, and you wrapped and you leave, and you take off his coat, you take off his hat, you take off, and you let him go away.
There is a scramble at the moment to outlaw tragedy from our map, our theatres, our TV screens, our movie screens. It's got to be fun. It doesn't, you know. Fun isn't healing. It doesn't add one iota to the growth of the soul. It has its place. But there has to be a balance of boys and girls. It can get very dark. And that's what tragedy says to us. And through that darkness, you can struggle to find your kind of light, but you have to include the darkness and the light. An amazing combination of narcissism and total lack of self-worth. If I cannot surprise myself, I'm not going to surprise my director, and I'm not going to surprise my audience. That process of alchemy that turns ink on a page into flesh and blood that people can embrace and recognize as being part of their own lives. And it's through that urgency to reach and to tell stories and to be a tribal storyteller that gives me the energy to delve into my own knowledge and experience and use a huge amount of imagination to make something out of nothing. There's an awful lot of claptrap talked about acting. The truth is we do make something out of nothing, using our voice, our body, and our imagination. That's all we have.
A comedian has two voices up there. One says, "Why would you say that?" The other one says, "I want to see what happens." And this one goes, well, yeah, but people might get really offended. Yeah, but they might really like it. This one usually wins.
The irreverence, the making people uncomfortable, the embarrassment, all of that. Partly what interests me is, how does one discover that? How does one go down that path, which is risky and dangerous and frightful?
I don't want a predictable story. If you see something coming, it's not as exciting. So I like being made to jump in a horror film. I like someone saying the unexpected. I know how embarrassed I am in a situation, and that's all we're doing really, isn't it? We're trying to evoke an emotion in someone else. We're trying to make a connection. The terrible thing is, I don't know whether I'm trying to do that or just please me.
You ever get in trouble?
I'm sure I do offend people all the time, but I don't mean to, and no one has the right not to be offended. Because someone's offended, it doesn't mean they're in the right. So I say, Nelson Mandela, what an amazing man, incarcerated for 25 years, released in 1990, so he's been out about 20 years now. And he hasn't reoffended, I think. I think he's going straight, which shows you prison does work. So I'm always coming down on the wrong side. I'm the ignoramus, but they're laughing as well.
All artists have that struggle of wondering what someone else is going to think of their piece of art, and that, in fact, screws up their ability to be creative.
If you start taking feedback on board, if you start second-guessing people, if you start worrying about a demographic or trying to be popular, I mean, that's the biggest killer. As famous people, we get praise all the time, and it's a terrible shame.
How do you deal with that? How do you remain humble?
I've never been humble. I only ever pretend to be humble.
Nothing's given in life. You have to earn everything. And once you start thinking that somebody else owes you, or this profession owes you, I think that's when you fail. Thinking that you don't have to keep on working to get better and improve. Because number one, we're human beings. We need repetition. We need practice. You're going to lose it after a while. And I've learned that through trials and tribulations. You start working out around March, April, 4 times a week in the gym and on the field. So now, the harder I work, I can get faster. I can always get stronger. I've lost weight. I've been really working on a lot of core, hip flexors, things of that nature where I'm just noticing transformation. What I didn't like at the time, though, was I was a wide receiver. Shank, you're a tight end, Shank. You're a tight end, Shank. Play tight end, Shank. I know, coach, but I think I'm a wide receiver, man. Like, I want to go as a wide receiver. Shank, play tight end, Shank. So he sold me as tight end to all the colleges. I hated that. A tight end is a wide receiver at heart. A tight end can be just as good as a wide receiver. He can be split out. He could jump and get balls and things of that nature. You practice how you play. You have to catch a lot of footballs because you have to be prepared for any angle, at any time, at any velocity. I learned that I could compete amongst the elite. Now I'm a starter. I didn't know how to be a starter. Now I know how to be a starter. I'm out there with the Sharks now. You may be timid at first, and then you can start acting like the Sharks. And after a while, you may start, being the predator amongst the Sharks. A lot of people have natural talent, natural ability, right? God-given ability. But what do you do with it? Now, it's your mind frame. Does he get rattled when he makes a mistake, or does he go to the next play or the next round or whatever the case may be? Does he dwell over that? Does he have confidence? It's times you can use somebody else's aggression against them. If you know a guy likes the bull rush, if I have to block this guy, it's a running play to my side, and I know he's gonna tee off on me. I'm gonna just cut him. I'm just gonna go down on his legs. And then you mix it up, then you can play mind games with him. That's what confidence allows you to do. It allows you to work outside the box. I try to bring up the confidence in a lot of younger guys by being in the weight room with them so they can know how strong they are. Because a lot of them, they don't know how strong they are. You're just as strong as me, and I'm out here doing this, so you can do that too. You can do better than that. You can do better than me. You say, look, why not just go all balls out and say, look, I don't give a fuck right now. I'm not gonna let this guy beat me because I gotta feed my family. So what you need to do is stop being nice. That's how you gain your respect in the league, is by being that dog. My motto is, I work as hard as I can. I try to plan out as much as I can, but I believe that God really points you in the direction that he wants you to go when he wants you to go there.
Heart is showing the ability to continue on when it don't seem like there's no win in sight. You still go and go and go. That's heart. It's the most honest, straight up game you can get in, because it's you and another man that's your equal, and y'all find out what each other made of.
The bodies only can go but so far being prepared. Okay. The mind is never overloaded. When it comes to confidence and when it comes to a strong will, if you have it, you have it. If you don't, you don't. Give me a man with courage that can be taught than a man with skills with no courage. The guy that with courage that has less skills, he learns, he lasts longer. To have courage to be able to get knocked down and continue to go forward. To have courage to be rich and still fight like you're poor, that's courage.